Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriya Nashtuprayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 15, the glories of the descendants of King Priyavrat. Text number 2 onwards. Tasmad vriddha senayam devata jinnam putro bhavat. From Sumati, a son named Devta Jit was born from the womb of his wife named Vriddha Sena. Athasuryam tatanyo devadyumnastato dhenumatyam sutah parameshthi suvarchalayam prati upajataha. Thereafter, in the womb of Asuri, the wife of Devatajit, a son named Devadyumna was begotten. Devadyumna begot in the womb of his wife Dhenumati, a son named Parameshthi. Parameshthi begot a son named Pratiha in the womb of his wife Suvarchala. Text 4. Ya Atma Vidyam Akhyaya Swayam Samshuddho Mahapurusham Manusasmara. King Pratiha personally propagated the principles of self-realization. In this way, not only he was purified, but he became a great devotee of the Supreme Person, Lord Vishnu, and directly realized him. The word Anusasmar is very significant. God consciousness is not imaginary or concocted. The devotee who is pure and advanced realizes God as he is. Maharaj Pratiha did so, and due to his direct realization of Lord Vishnu, he propagated self-realization and became a preacher. A real preacher cannot be bogus. He must first of all realize Lord Vishnu as he is. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, one who has seen the truth can impart knowledge. The word Tattvadarshi refers to one who has perfectly realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a person can become a guru and propound Vaishnava philosophy all over the world. The paragon of bona fide preachers and guru is King Pratiha. So he was a leader of preachers and guru. Text 5. In the womb of his wife Suvarchala, Pratiha begot 3 sons named Pratiharta, Prastota, and Udgata. These 3 sons were very expert in performing Vedic rituals. Pratiharta begot 2 sons named Aja and Bhuma in the womb of his wife named Stuti. Text 6. In the womb of his wife Rishi Kulya, King Bhuma begot a son named Udgita. From Udgita's wife Devakulya, a son named Prastav was born. And Prastav begot a son named Vibhu from his wife Niyutsa. In the womb of his wife Rati, Vibhu begot a son named Prithusena. And Prithusena begot a son named Nakta in the womb of his wife named Akuti. Nakta's wife was Dhruti, and from her womb the great king Gaya was born. Gaya was very famous and pious. He was the best of saintly kings. Lord Vishnu and his expansions, who are meant to protect the universe, are always situated in the transcendental mode of goodness, known as Vishuddha Sattva. Being the direct expansion of Lord Vishnu, King Gaya was also situated in Vishuddha Sattva. Because of this, Maharaj Gaya was fully equipped with transcendental knowledge. Therefore, he was called Mahapurush. From this verse, it appears that the incarnations of God are various. So this King Gaya was also incarnation of God. Some are part and parcel of the direct expansions, and some are direct expansions of Lord Vishnu. A direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Ansha, Asva Ansha. Whereas an incarnation from Ansha is called Kala. Among the Kalas, there are Vibhin Ansha Jivas, or living entities, These are counted among the Jiva Tattvas. Those who come directly from Lord Vishnu are called Vishnu Tattva and are sometimes designated as Mahapurush. Another name for Krishna is Mahapurush, and the devotee is sometimes called Mahapurushika. So this King Gaya was a direct incarnation or expansion of Lord Vishnu. Text 7. King Gaya gave full protection and security to the citizens so that their personal property would not be disturbed by undesirable elements. He also saw that there was sufficient food to feed all the citizens. This is called Poshan. He would sometimes distribute gifts to the citizens to satisfy them. This is called Prinan. He would sometimes call meetings and satisfy the citizens with sweet words. This is called Uplalan. He would also give them good instructions on how to become first-class citizens. This is called Anushasan. Such were the characteristics of King Gaya's royal order. Besides all this, King Gaya was a householder who strictly observed the rules and regulations of household life. He performed sacrifices and was an unalloyed pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was called Mahapurusha because as a king, he gave the citizens all the facilities, and as a householder, he executed all his duties so that at the end he became a strict devotee of the Supreme Lord. As a devotee, he was always ready to give respect to other devotees and to engage in the devotional service of the Lord. This is the Bhakti Yoga process. Due to all these transcendental activities, King Gaya was always free from bodily conception. He was full in Brahman realization, and consequently, he was always jubilant. He did not experience material lamentation. Although he was perfect in all respects, he was not proud, nor was he anxious to rule the kingdom. As Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, when he descends on earth, he has two types of business: to give protection to the faithful and annihilate the demons. Since the king is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is sometimes called Naradeva, that is, the Lord as a human being. According to Vedic injunctions, he is worshipped as God and on the material platform, as God on the material platform. As a representative of the Supreme Lord, the king had the duty to protect the citizens in a perfect way so that they would not be anxious for food and protection, and so that they would be jubilant. The king would supply everything for their benefit, and because of this, he would levy taxes. If the king or government otherwise levies taxes on the citizens, he becomes responsible for the sinful activities of the citizens. In Kali Yuga, monarchy is abolished because the king themselves are subjected to the influence of Kali Yuga. It is understood from the Ramayana that when Vibhishan became friends with Lord Ramchandra, he promised that if by chance or will he broke the laws of friendship with Lord Ramchandra, he would become a Brahman or a king in Kali Yuga. As in this age, as Vibhishan indicated, both Brahmins and kings are in a wretched condition. Actually, there are no kings or Brahmins in this age, and due to their absence, the whole world is in a chaotic condition and is always in distress. Compared to present standards, Maharaj Gaya was a true representative of Lord Vishnu, and therefore he was known as Mahapurusha. So Prabhupada is quoting Ramayana that Vibhishan, he promised that if by chance or will, if he broke the laws of friendship with Lord Ramchandra, he would become a Brahman or a king in Kali Yuga. Means Vibhishan, although he was a devotee, but he was from a Rakshas family. So that's what he indicated is both Brahmins and the kings are in a wretched condition in Kali Yuga. And that's why all we have to do is take shelter of the holy names as propagated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everything else is not just worth it. Text 8. My dear King Parikshit, those who are learned scholars in the histories of the Puranas eulogize and glorify King Gaya with the following verses. The historical references to exalted kings serve as a good example for present rulers. Those who are ruling the world at the present moment should take lessons from King Gaya, King Yudhishthir, and King Prithu and rule the citizens so that they will be happy. Presently, the governments are levying taxes without improving the citizens in any cultural, religious, social, or political way. According to the Vedas, this is not recommended. But the problem is, if the government doesn't do all this, then they will not be in the power. Very soon they'll be out. Text 9. Gayam nripaha kah pratyati karma bhir yajva brahmani bhavid dharma goptaha samagata shrihi sadas saswatihi satam sat sevako anyo bhagvat kalamrite. The great king Gaya used to perform all kinds of Vedic rituals. He was highly intelligent and expert in studying all the Vedic literatures. He maintained the religious principles and possessed all kinds of opulence. He was a leader among gentlemen and a servant of the devotees. He was a totally qualified plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, who could equal him in the performance of gigantic ritualistic ceremonies? So he did Vedic rituals, and he used to study all the Vedic literatures. Yam abhyashanchin parya muda satihi satya shisho daksha kanya saridbhi yasya prajanam duduhe dhara shisho nirashisho gunavat sasnutodha. All the chaste and honest daughters of Maharaj Daksha, such as Shraddha, Maitri, Daya, whose blessings were always effective, bathed Maharaj Gaya with sanctified water. Indeed, they were very satisfied with Maharaj Gaya. The planet Earth personified came as a cow, and as though she saw her calf, she delivered milk profusely when she saw all the good qualities of Maharaj Gaya. In other words, Maharaj Gaya was able to derive all benefits from the earth and thus satisfy the desires of his citizens. However, he personally had no desire. The earth over which Maharaj Gaya ruled is compared to a cow. The good qualities whereby he maintained and ruled the citizens are compared to the calf. A cow delivers milk in the presence of her calf. Similarly, the cow or earth fulfilled the desires of Maharaj Gaya, who was able to utilize all the resources of the earth to benefit his citizens. This was possible because he was bathed in sanctified water by the honest daughters of Daksha. Unless a king or ruler is blessed by the authorities, he cannot rule the citizens very satisfactorily. Through the good qualities of the ruler, the citizens become very happy and well qualified. So the king has to be very properly situated, and he has to have all the blessings of the Brahmins and authorities, and then he can rule the citizens properly. But he will get the blessings only if he is properly situated. Otherwise, he will not even get the blessings. Text 11. Chandasya kamsya cha yasya kamam duduhu rajahu ratho balim nripaha pratyanjita yudhi dharmena vipra idashisham shashtam ansham paretya. Although King Gaya had no personal desires for sense gratification, all his desires were fulfilled by virtue of his performance of Vedic rituals. All the kings with whom Maharaj Gaya had to fight were forced to fight on religious principles. They were very satisfied with this fighting, and they would present all kinds of gifts to him. Similarly, all the Brahmins in his kingdom were very satisfied with King Gaya's munificent charities. Consequently, the Brahmins contributed a sixth of their pious activities for King Gaya's benefit in the next life. As a Kshatriya or emperor, Maharaj Gaya sometimes had to fight with subordinate kings to maintain his government. But the subordinate kings were not dissatisfied with him because they knew he fought for religious principles. Consequently, they accepted their subordination and offered all kinds of gifts to him. Similarly, the Brahmins who performed Vedic rituals were so satisfied with king that they very readily agreed to part with sixth of their pious activities for its benefit in the next life. Thus, the Brahmins and Kshatriyas were all satisfied with Maharaj Gaya because of his proper administration. In other words, Maharaj Gaya satisfied the Kshatriya kings by his fighting and satisfied the Brahmins by his charities. The Vaishyas were also encouraged by king's words and affectionate dealings. And due to Maharaj Gaya's constant sacrifices, the Shudras were satisfied with sumptuous food and charity. In this way, Maharaj Gaya kept all the citizens very satisfied. When Brahmins and saintly persons are honored, they part with their pious activities, giving them to those who honor them and render them service. Therefore, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidhi Pranipati, one should try to approach a spiritual master submissively and render service unto him. So, although I don't think any of us had heard of this Maharaj Gaya's name, but he looks like he's a great person, direct incarnation of the Lord, and he's ruled the kingdom, ruled the whole earth so perfectly that everybody was satisfied. Even the kings he was fighting against, they would really accept his subordination and give him taxes in kinds of in terms of gifts. And the Brahmins, because Brahmins are poor, they don't have money. So what they would give? 1/6 of their pious activities. If they want to give, they can give. And the Vaishyas and Shudras, they were all happy in his kingdom. Yasyadhvare Bhagwanadva Aratma Maghoni Madhyati Uru Soma Pithe Shraddha Vishuddha Chal Bhakti Yoga Samarpite Jaya Phalam Ajahara. In Maharaj Gaya's sacrifices, there was a great supply of the intoxicant known as Soma. King Indra used to come and become intoxicated by drinking large quantities of Somaras. Also, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the Yajna Purusha, also came and personally accepted all the sacrifices offered unto him with pure and firm devotion in the sacrificial arena. Maharaj Gaya was so perfect that he satisfied all the demigods who were headed by the heavenly king Indra. Lord Vishnu himself also personally came to the sacrificial arena to accept the offerings. Although Maharaj Gaya did not want them, he received all the blessings of the demigods and the Supreme Lord himself. Just imagine all the demigods personally were coming in his yajna, and Lord Vishnu himself came and accepted the offerings. Yat prinad nar barhishi devatir yanga manushya virutrinam avirinjata priyeta sadhya saha vishwajivaha pritaha swayam pritim agadaya gayasya. When the Supreme Lord is pleased by a person's actions, automatically all the demigods, human beings, animals, birds, bees, creepers, trees, grass, and all other living entities, beginning with Lord Brahma, are pleased. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the super soul of everyone, and he is by nature fully pleased. Nonetheless, he came to the arena of Maharaj Gaya and said, "I'm fully pleased." It is explicitly stated herein that simply by satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one satisfies the demigods and all other living entities without differentiation. If one pours water on the root of a tree, all the branches, twigs, flowers, and leaves are nourished. Although the Supreme Lord is self-satisfied, he was so pleased with the behavior of Maharaj Gaya that he personally came to the sacrificial arena and said, I'm fully satisfied. Who can compare to Maharaj Gaya? The Supreme Lord himself is saying, I'm fully satisfied here. Text 14:15, translation. In the womb of Gayanti, Maharaj Gaya begot 3 sons named Chitrarath, Sugati, and Avrodhan. In the womb of his wife Urna, Chitrarath begot a son named Samrat. The wife of Samrat was Utkala, and in her womb, Samrat begot a son named Marichi. In the womb of his wife Bindumati, Marichi begot a son named Bindu. In the womb of his wife Saragha, Bindu begot a son named Madhu. In the womb of his wife Sumna, Madhu begot a son named Veeravrat. In the womb of his wife Bhoja, Veeravrat begot 2 sons named Manthu and Pramanthu. In the womb of his wife Satya, Manthu begot a son named Bhavan. And in the womb of his wife Dushana, Bhavan begot a son named Tvashta. In the womb of his wife Virochan, Tvashta begot a son named Viraj. The wife of Viraj was Vishuchi, and in her womb Viraj begot 100 sons and 1 daughter. Of all these sons, that son named Shatajit was predominant. Text 16. Tatraya shloka prayavratam vansham virajascharma udbhava akrodati alam kirtya vishnu surganam yatha. There is a famous verse about King Viraj because of his high qualities and wide fame. King Viraj became the jewel of the dynasty of King Priyavrat, just as Lord Vishnu, by his transcendental potency, and decorates and blesses the demigods. Within a garden, a flowering tree attains a good reputation because of its fragrant flowers. Similarly, if there is a famous man in a family, he is compared to a fragrant flower in the forest. Because of him, an entire family can become famous in history. Because Lord Krishna took birth in the Yadu dynasty and the Yadavas have remained famous for all time. Because of King Viraj's appearance, the family of Maharaj Priyavrat has remained famous for all the time. So King Viraj, very famous, but so we'll read further. So thus ends the 15th chapter of 5th canto, the glories of the descendants of King Priyavrat. So tomorrow we'll start the 16th chapter. And now starts the wonderful description of the whole universe. It will start with the description of Jambu Dweep. So it's lots of numbers from now on till the end of this canto. So numbers and numbers and numbers and numbers. It's very mind-boggling. Lots of figures are there. But we just have to take it, because otherwise there is no way we can put everything together. So description of the universe. We'll start it tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, beautiful names we are going through. Uska
Mhm.
son, uski daughter, uska this. These are new names for me. I never heard these names.
Yeah, even somehow they're not very popular.
Yes,
or
but beautiful
famous.
names. Beautiful names.
Yeah.
I was just,
Yeah.
just watching this one. I was like, kitna sundar name hai. This is, then next is, this is again beautiful. Next is again beautiful. Thank you, Babuji.
Okay, thank you, Mahata. Thank you all very much. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada.